Hello once again, everyone, to episode 8 of Books and Stuff. This is kind of a celebration video, as it were, for this little YouTube series reaching over 100 views. As it stands, there have been 111 right now, and that's just fantastic. As I wrote on the Realm a couple of days ago, just thank you guys so very much. I can't say how much I appreciate what you guys are giving to this series. It really wouldn't be much without the input I've gotten. And I'd just like to ask that this kind of thing continue, because I mean, you guys are obviously enjoying them. I hope that they are still enjoyable. I'm certainly trying to make sure that they are. Hang on just a moment. Let me adjust that just a bit. Okay, I'm certainly trying to make sure that they stay enjoyable, and we'll just keep working with it until it truly becomes as close to perfect as we can get it. So the first thing I want to talk about is November is right around the corner. That means that National Novel Writing Month is right around the corner. Because as those of you who are familiar with the Realm and have watched a couple of the earlier videos are aware, November is National Novel Writing Month, something that I've taken place in once before this, and a couple of summer sessions. But I hope that this will be the one where I can, at the very least, get a good chunk of everything finished. I've been spending the last couple of days doing some reworking. I'm a little disappointed to say that I had put the whole story down for quite a while, and just hadn't done anything with it. So I picked it up again, read through it, noticed some changes that I needed to make in regards to one of the characters in particular. Wasn't coming across as I want them to. So I am kind of scrapping everything that there is so far about him and starting him kind of from scratch. Part of the reason that things didn't work out with that character is I had kind of gotten a little too enthralled with one of the other main characters. I spent a little too much time, or more than I should have, developing his story, and I just felt and I just left this character to just kind of deteriorate on the wayside, as it were. So I'm working to get that fixed up, and so everything will be ready for me to jump right back in November 1st. And I'll be continuing that little update doodad on the Walker Realm, and I'll try and keep you guys updated in these videos as well. I do want to apologize. I had hoped to do this particular video at the end of last week, but I just ran out of opportunities to record, as I do live in a dorm, and I have roommates. It makes it a little more challenging to find free time, and I don't want to ask them to leave, or just these aren't that important. There's always time somewhere that I don't need to go out of my way to force these things to be recorded. So that's why this one waited until Monday, and I didn't have a second one last week. I'll try and avoid that in the future, as I do like to put 2 of these out every week. So we can move right into The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle. This was not what I was expecting. As I mentioned previously, this book has gotten a lot of very good reviews from a lot of authors that I personally love reading. However, because part of what we do when we first look at a book is we judge it. I mean, that's why they have covers. That's why they have titles. It's to help in the decision process. I'll be honest, I did not have high hopes for this book. I was worried it was going to be overly childish and just not in my particular realm of book. So it was so I was pleasantly surprised upon my completion of it to discover that this really wasn't at all what I had figured it would be. At first it feels like it mildly, but once the story really gets going, it reads like nothing that's been written in the last 40 years. The writing style, the way all the sentences move, and the way the chapters flow feels very much like like you're reading one of the old epics. It's while they don't compare in any way other than the general feeling you get from the language. It's mildly similar to when I've read Odysseus, or the Odyssey. Forgive me. That was what kept popping up into my head as I was reading this. The mild similarities between just how it's written. And as for my concerns of it being a children's book, again, you could read this book to your children, and they would assume it's just a story about. They would assume it's as simple as being a story about the last unicorn and her search to find the rest of her kind. But there's a whole lot more that this book delves into, the things that a child probably wouldn't pick up on. And I encourage those of you who are interested in fantasy and even just older works, because this was printed in 82, I think. 1968, actually. So it's definitely got some years behind it. It's not a modern text at all, and it's somewhat old-fashioned for the time it was written, and on top of that, again, it's just it was a surprisingly good read. I imagined I would just kind of read through it and have another book to add to the list of things I've read, but this was very good. And it adds a lot of it brings up a lot of old tropes and mythology, which is another pointer as to why children might struggle. Not struggle with it. They just there are aspects of it that wouldn't come across to them, because there's quite a bit of mythology. In fact, this book is dripping with mythology. And it's just very, very interesting. Not at all what I had expected. And it's just chock full of really good little snippets. I'm going to quote a couple of them here. For example, we are not always what we seem, and hardly ever what we dream. Now, that particular sentence is not part of a song or a poem, which there are a few of in this particular book. That's another one of the oddities of this text. Quite often you'll run into lines that are rhyming with each other, and just narrative lines, dialogue. A lot of the dialogue feels rhythmic, especially the way that one was. And there's just other things like it's a rare man who is taken for what he truly is, or real magic can never be made by offering someone else's liver. You must tear out your own and not expect to give it back. Which brings up the magician character in this book, who was my personal favorite. Schmendrick is his name. Interesting name. He's not what you would expect in a wizard, at all. Not in his abilities or in his personality. He's quiet, but at times he just very violent, and he has moments of sheer stupidity next to profound wisdom. He's a very conflicted character and just really adds to the story. So that's all I'm going to say about this. If you are interested in it and want to read it or learn more about it, I suggest you go and get it for yourself. That's The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle. So we can move on to Ask Ken questions. This one is brand new. Popped up in that little commenty box Saturday, something like that. And it kind of fits in with what I was talking a little while ago about the cover of The Last Unicorn. The question is as follows. Have you ever rejected a book based on its cover or title, and later found it to be a great read? Now, I'll be honest, the first time I read this, I did misread it. I thought it said, have you ever just picked up a book based on its cover or title? And the answer to that is definitely yes. There are many, many books I have picked off the shelves just because of the cover art, or an author blurb that makes it onto the title, and they've ended up being fantastic. However, when it comes to initially rejecting a book based on its cover, I honestly cannot think of any particular book that I've done that to, so far as to actually at one point go pick it up at the store, go no, set it back, leave, later maybe read a review or something, or an author mentions it, go back, buy it, and then read it and find out it's fantastic. I don't think that that's ever happened to me. I have certainly gotten a book that I was fairly confident in, looked at the cover, and just not felt confident at all anymore about the contents of this book. The most recent of which would be The Last Unicorn. I'm struggling to remember specifics right now, but occasionally I will be disheartened by a book's particular cover, especially after I've read it and it turns out to be fantastic, because it's just sad when the book is so good and the cover just doesn't reflect it. That's just very unfortunate, because there are a large number of people who are book shopping based on the picture that is being sold to them. And while that's not my personal favorite way of going about finding books. It exists, so it's unfortunate when a good book gets lost on the wayside because of bad cover art or a ridiculously stupid title. So no, I never really haven't. I never really have. Double negative. I have not just put a book back because of its cover. I tend to do my research to some degree before picking up a book, just because I don't have unlimited money, and a good number of books are, and books in general, at least new books, are coming up in price. And so I need to be sure that what I'm getting is good and not frivolously waste $10 to $30 on a book I'm only going to make, well, on a book I'm going to make it all the way through but really regret reading. That's all I have for today. Once again, thank you all so very much for getting me over 100 views in only the first 7 episodes. Thank you. So again, please remember to like and comment these videos. It certainly helps. I'll see you guys all later this week, I hope. Enjoy.